Good evening. Good evening, Doctor. Dr. Datta.
Good evening, sir. Good
How are you,
evening.
sir?
Yeah, doing good.
Yeah. Good evening, everybody. Hearty welcome to Extramural Education and Training to this special episode of Kaushal Bodh. Well, it's always a pleasure to have Dr. Datta on board with us and to listen to him, especially on certain topics like Kaushal Bodh, SCOP, lots of sessions he has given to Extra Mile. So thank you so much. Behalf of everybody, I take this opportunity to thank Dr. Datta for offering this session. Without much ado, we can go ahead straight to the topic. Well, everybody knows that it is implemented. It should be implemented without any compromise. It's already mandated by CBSE for this year, but many schools or majority of the schools have not done. That's the reason we are here to help you. Dr. Datta will take you through all the modalities and activities of grade 6 to 8 based on the Kaushal Bodh. Let's put our hands to welcome Dr. Datta. Let me introduce him through a short video. Just hold on, please. Yes, Dr. Datta, it is yours.
Thank you
Please.
so much, and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this session of Kaushal Bodh. Just give me a minute so that I can share my screen with all of you. All right, so I hope my screen is visible to everyone.
Yes,
Implementing Kaushal Bodh vocational education activities for class 6 to 8. So everyone suddenly realized that there's something called Kaushal Bodh when CBSE rolled out this circular on the 28th of October 2025, last year. And in that, the subject line said, mandatory implementation of skill education and Kaushal Bodh textbooks in classes 6 to 8 in CBSE schools with effect from academic session 25-26. That means immediate implementation, which became a very difficult task for most of the schools because implementing or integrating Kaushal Bodh in the middle of an academic session when the timetable has already been made was almost a near impossible task. So many of the schools wanted some respite, rang up the regional offices to get some consolence that okay, we will be able to do it from next year also. So they expressed their inability to implement it right from 25-26. Now this is going to be 26-27, the next academic year, and now it is definitely going to be mandatory. And every school should make a note of it, that what are the things that we need to know, how we are going to implement it. Unfortunately, again, the volume of the books is so big, it's difficult for the either the teachers or the principals to go through each and every page, understand what it is. So everyone was looking for some video online, including me. Even when Salam sir approached me that, sir, can you take a session on Kaushal Bodh? So I said, fine, I'll take it. And then I was looking for some videos on the YouTube to check if something is already available. But surprisingly, I didn't get any video which made some sense to me. So then I thought, now I have to go the hard way around. So I started reading those books, and then I extended my, it was supposed to be done the previous week. So I took another few days to ensure that I go through the entire manual, all the 3 volumes, and then take the session, so that at no point in time I misguide you or tell something that is not real. So now this is the circular, and as you have seen over here, the link is there for the academic website, which where the circular is there, and grade 6, 7, and 8. These are also in blue, which means these are clickable links. When you click on these, it will take you to the Kaushal Bodh handbook, and each class 6, 7, and 8, it has a different handbook altogether, and this is published by NCRT. Now, a few more private publications are coming up with Kaushal Bodh handbooks, and I attended one of the sessions of a private publication as well, who were trying to highlight their publication, the book that they have published. But doesn't make any sense as of now to go for private publication. The CBSE book or the NCRT book is good enough. Let's move on to understand what Kaushal Bodh is and what we need to do. Now, I'll try to keep the duration of the session very less, mainly because nothing much is there to explain. I've just done around 40 slides, which I'll take you through over the next 40-45 minutes. And if you have doubts later on, you can clear your doubts by asking questions. So first is the National Education Policy and Visions. So everything that is happening after 2020 is based on National Education Policy. So whatever the NEP rolled out during that time, phase-wise it is getting implemented. And we were well aware when the NEP was rolled out. And I told it in my session that I conducted on behalf of COE Pune on the CBSE academic YouTube channel, that this will take quite a few years to get implemented. So we are seeing every year something new is coming up. So the system of education in the country that is rooted in Indian ethos, while at the same time preparing students to constructively engage with prospects and challenges of the 21st century. In simple words, NEP is repeatedly talking about being rooted in Indian ethos. The Indianness of the child has to be awakened and nurtured. That's one thing that we need to understand. That's what NEP is talking about, apart from other things that NEP talks about, which we have already heard about. Next is NCF SE 2023, the National Curriculum Framework for School Education. 2023, it was, as you know by the date, it was rolled out in 2023. Before that, the NCF for Foundation Stage, FS, it was rolled out in 2022. Now, this NCF talks about the Panchakoshas, the 5 planes of existence. What are these 5 planes or Panchakoshas? The first kosha is the physical body, which is called Annamaya Kosha. You can see the labeled diagram at the right. Annamaya Kosha is the physical body. So the second kosha is Pranamaya Kosha, which is the energy body, which gives energy to the individual. Third is Manomaya Kosha, which is the emotional body or the sheath, that is the emotional sheath, has something to do with the mind and emotions. Then comes the logical mind, which is Vijnanmaya Kosha, the wisdom or the intellect of the individual. And finally, the Anandamaya Kosha, which is bliss body or a state of absolute happiness. Now, if we ask anyone what is the purpose of education, the ultimate purpose of any education, or let's say whenever someone asks for a blessing, what do we say in India? In India, in the northern India especially, people say khush raho, be happy, may God bless you. All these blessings are there so that people understand the ultimate objective is to be happy. So whether we are going through an education process or we are playing a sport, we are doing an activity, whatever we do, the ultimate goal is ananda or happiness. Now, to reach that happiness, there are phases, and that's the sheath. That is the reason these sheaths are there. So the first sheath that we need to nurture is the Annamaya Kosha, or the physical body. If the physical body is not functioning well, a person cannot experience happiness. So first is physical body. So the child's physical body has to be taken care of, and that we know from the foundation stage, that what are the fine motor skills, the gross motor skills, the senses that we talk about, these have to be made functional and ensure that all these senses are working absolutely fine. Next comes the energy level of the body. The child has to be energetic. So next phase is the teachers have to ensure that all children are active and energetic. Now, in a school scenario, what we tell our children, do not make noise, sit down silently, all these things are there, which is trying to curb down the energy level of the child, which is not scientific. That is the reason, apart from what I'm going to talk about today, the Kaushal Bodh, there are so many other things that are included, which is, for example, the sports period. 5 sports periods, like one in each day, has been made mandatory. Why? Because sports is something that children love to do, and the energy is also involved. So, apart from the physical body, the energy body has to be nurtured. Third comes the emotional state. So, the children have to be made aware how they feel like in different scenarios while doing different activities. So, I think if you have encountered this, children get very bored when they're sitting and just lectures are happening. So, Manomay Kosha is something that also we need to take care of. And finally, the logical mind, where the child needs to understand and ask questions and go deep into a topic. And if all these are happening, then the Anandamaya Kosha comes. Now, why I'm telling this in a session of this Kaushal Bodh? Mainly because it's going to deal with activities which is going to address each of these components. Through each activity that we're going to take up in Kaushal Bodh, the Annamaya Kosha, the physical body has to be involved, the energy level of the child has to be high, the emotional level of the child has to be good, the child should be feeling happy, and then the logical mind has to be nurtured. The child has to be not spoon fed but asked to ask questions, frame questions, go deep into a topic, and then what happens is complete ananda or bliss, and that is the objective of education. And that is what holistic education is all about. So NCF 2023 at the middle stage aims, what it aims? It aims to equip students with skills that are needed to grow as they advance in their lives. So we are talking about skill because India is a very young country. And the NEP and the NCF has realized very quickly that if we have to take an advantage of the population that we have, which is a young population compared to other countries like Italy, where the population is normally a little older. Young India is a young country with a lot of young people, and the country can only do well when we take advantage of this young population. And what is the advantage? We need to use each and every member of the community in a productive way. That can only happen when, along with academics, skills also come in. There are a lot of skills that is essential to run a society, a community, and we need people for each of these skills. So here is the requirement to make India a superpower. We need to ensure that the advantage, the demographic advantage that we have, the population advantage that we have, we use it fully. So here is the need of teaching skills to the children. And that is the reason the Skill India movement started. The NSQF was framed. So all these things was done with the target that whatever we are trying to achieve, if you want to become a good economy, a proper an economy of a developed country, not a developing country, then we have to use our entire population or all the people. So here, academics alone won't be sufficient. Skill has to play a role. So here, skill comes in. Enhance their analytical, descriptive, and narrative capabilities to prepare them for challenges and opportunities ahead. So there are a lot of opportunities waiting. The opportunities are not anymore restricted to academic qualifications. We have seen people passing out from IITs and still jobless. We have seen people passing out from IITs and running coaching centers. So what does it mean? An IIT engineer running coaching center means there were not enough vacancies in the engineering field. I've seen a lot of engineers in different streams, electrical, mechanical, they are sitting just like that with jobless. It means a simple thing. The qualification, even from an institute like IIT, is not enough to guarantee a job. But then employment is very, very important. So how employment is going to come? It is going to come from a second stream, that is skills. So skills and academics, these two should run parallel and can be intertransferable, so that from academics I can go to skill and from skill I can come to academics. So this is all about the national credit framework. What we know, I took a session on extra mile itself, if I'm not wrong, of national credit framework, where I showed very clearly that the framework has been designed in such a way to ensure that seamless movement from academics to skill and skill to academics. So this thing that we are doing in school now is in support of that. So far the schools are practicing skill education. They have taken one subject in 9th or 10th, that may be IT or AI. But mainly the purpose of taking this skill education was not to upgrade the skill of the children, but to ensure that if the child fails in math, science, and social, any of these subjects, the skill subject will, replace that score and the child can still pass. That was the objective and is the objective of most of the schools. But then the focus has to shift from just passing a board examination to acquiring a skill. So to acquire a skill, ninth and 10th is not good enough. So it should start early. How early? So far it was going on only from ninth and 10th in the board exam. Now they have told that we are making it mandatory from 6th itself. So start teaching the skill from 6th. So they have to develop their analytical skill, be ready for the opportunities that they're waiting. It's waiting in the outside world. And for that, they need to keep themselves prepared. They cannot just all of a sudden graduate with a certificate in their hands and then start learning a skill. So learn a skill, be job ready, and go out of the school. So vocational education to ensure holistic development. So holistic development is what? I told about all the 5 koshas. So all these koshas, when they are developed, then it is the holistic development. Kaushal Bodh activity book for grades 6, 7, and 8. The projects related to 3 work forms. So what is it telling? I'm coming directly to the point. Kaushal Bodh is nothing but books which tells you that you have to do 3 different types of projects. And what are these 3 different types of projects? The first type of project is called work with life forms. Second, work with machines and material. And third, work with human services. So 3 broad categories or topics are there: life forms, machine material, human service. So if you open any of the Kaushal Bodh book, which I'm going to do after I finish this PPT, I'll show you how the book looks like online as well. But these are the 3 major topics. So projects are distributed for these topics. Now, work with life form. So what is that? Work with life form involves working with plants and animals. For example, developing a vegetable garden, taking care of animals, and so on. So here the school is advised that you can make a vegetable garden, a kitchen garden, sort of an ecosystem within the school where different animals or birds or insects are seen, and the children can engage themselves with these different life forms. I'll talk a little, I'll tell in detail what about the projects in class 6 and 7 and 8 separately. But right now, just understand that life form is one sort of project. Second, work with machines and material. Working with materials such as paper, wood, clay, fabric, and using basic tools such as scissors, uh, garden fork, knife, hammer, screwdriver, etc., and machines such as bottle openers, ramp slides, wood screw, crane, bulldozer. It's written over there, but I don't think you really need a bulldozer. Uh, so it's written in the book. I've written over there, but I don't think any school is going to bring a bulldozer to do something unless and until you're trying to dig a pit or something. Anyway, so jokes apart, so equipment and materials are needed, right? So work with machines and materials. Third, work in human services. So what is human service? Interaction with people to understand their needs and how we can help them. It involves communication and understanding the process and resources for providing a particular service. For example, healthcare. So when you're providing healthcare, that human touch is very important. When I was taking the session on NEP, I told it very clearly that after a few years, the AI is going to dominate. So AI will be able to do the job of 1,000 individuals. But then what will ensure that we and our children are immune to automation, immune to AI taking over, and we still have a job in our hands? The only answer that I gave is 3 different areas we need to build our children in 3 different ways. What are these 3 different ways? First is creativity. No matter how creative the AI can be, it's still not going to match a Rabindranath Tagore or a William Shakespeare or a M.F. Hussain or a Kishore Kumar. So anything that has to do with genuine creativity, humans are still going to dominate. Second is the things that are not routine and not repetitive happens all of a sudden, emergency work, plumbing, electrical fuses going off, repairing of the AC. So all these things, no one will keep robots. When my AC will go bad, it will repair. No one's going to keep a report for that. Humans will still be needed. And the third and the most important thing, where human to human touch is important. If I go to a hospital and a nurse automated robotic nurse comes up and tell, don't worry, I'll take care of you, I'll not be too happy. I'll wait for someone who is more human to come and tell, that don't worry, I'm there for you. Even if that person knows less than a robot, I'll still rely on a human. So working with human services will give the children a clear understanding that what it means to be human and what being human is all about, and how they can come away from machines, be human, to ensure that machines don't take away their jobs. Because if they're relying heavily on machines, heavily on computers, internet, chat GPT, then one day, these things can decide that I'm not going to listen to my master anymore. There's a risk of AI taking over and not listening to human at all. That is one of the predictions of Nostradamus, that AI will take over human beings and they will not follow instruction, they will create their own instructions. But only place where they cannot replace human is, again, creativity, emergency services, and this one, where human touch is involved. So social service, education, food service, community service, these are the things that children need to learn, not just for the sake of learning, not just for the sake of project, but to make them immune from losing their jobs. Now, projects will help develop what they will develop: knowledge, skill, attitude, values, ecological sensitivity, gender sensitivity, digital skills, along with life skills. So, Kaushal Bodh aims at developing all these things in our children. Now, about the book. Developed in alignment with the vision of NEP 2020 and NCF SE 2023, which we already spoke about. The intent is to provide vocational exposure to students through a wide range of activities categorized into 3 forms of work. So which are the 3 forms? Very quickly, can we put it in the chat box and see if you're able to recall? First one is, very quickly, which is the first one? Put it in the chat box. Yes, very good, life forms. Which is the second one? Second one, work with life forms. Then second one, machines and material. Excellent. Third one, human services. Fantastic. So you have a clear understanding now what these different work forms are, right? Now let's go to the next PPT. Next slide. Now what the students are expected to take up 9 projects across the grades 6 to 8. That means what? 3 projects in 6, 3 projects in 7, 3 projects in 8. So every year they're going to take 3 projects. Which 3 projects? Of these 3 different topics: life forms, man-machine, human services. So one from each. So 3 projects in each grade. One from each form of work. So each form. So 6 they will have life, machine, human. 7 life, machine, human, and so on. Now, what are the guiding principles? The guiding principles, we have to understand that there are curricular goals, there are competencies, and there are learning outcomes. So when we talk about curricular goals, aims of education, this has been laid down in the National Education Policy, what the aim of education is going to be. Indian ethos, rootedness in Indian economy, Indian feelings, Indian heritage, appreciation for that. Apart from that, the computational thinking that we want to develop. So everything is aim of education. Where is curricular goals written? In NCF SE 2023. There the curricular goals are written. For each curriculum, there are different curricular goals. There were initially 12 to 13 over there. And these curricular goals have been broken down into competencies. So curricular goal is a broad goal that the students are expected to achieve, and it is broken down into things that they are able to do. So see, the shift is from what they are able to understand to what they are able to do, from what they are able to write in the examination to what they are able to do. So I give this example plenty of times, that I can tell you, for example, how to drive a car, and I can tell you the steps one by one, and you can make a note of it, memorize it. I give you an essay of 5 marks. You write down all the steps clearly, that you take the car, put the seat belt, turn the ignition on, change the gear, every step. You write it immaculately, one by one. I give you 5 out of 5. But because I gave you 5 out of 5 on how to drive a car, don't expect I will give you my car key to drive. Because you are able to write how to drive a car, you are not able to drive a car. So this is what was the gap in Indian education. People were able to tell a lot of things, but they were not able to actually do it. So here the projects are going to ensure that whatever the child is learning, he is actually able to do it. That is what competency is all about. And based on these competencies, to achieve each competency, the classes have to be broken down into learning outcomes. So every day the teacher is going and writing the learning outcome. So let's say 5 learning outcomes helps to achieve one competency. 10 competencies help to achieve one curricular goal. All curricular goal helps to achieve the aim of education. So that is the reason going into the class, writing the learning outcome on the board is so important. And as you have seen now, holistic progress card now no longer talks about the marks, but talks about competencies that have to be achieved. So through the projects, we are going to check that competency. Now, curricular goals which are covered, CG1. So basically through these projects, 4 curricular goals are going to be covered across all grades. Which are these? CG1 develops in-depth basic skills and allied knowledge of work and their associated materials and procedure. So depth basic skills and knowledge of work. Second, understand the place and usefulness of vocational skill and vocations in the world of work. So earlier, vocational education was looked down upon. It's nowhere near to academic qualifications. But with these things coming in, children will appreciate and understand the requirement of vocational education. Just like the teachers would understand that vocational education is not something that that can be just added or may not be added. It's not optional. It's mandatory now. To achieve competencies, vocational education is important. And value of work, that is very important. Understanding that every individual who is contributing in some vocation is valuable person to the society. 3, develops essential values while working across areas. So when we work in different projects, there are so many values that we develop. The values of cooperation, helpfulness, sympathy, empathy, all these different values are developed while working in a team. And that is what required in the 21st century. CG4, develop basic skills and allied knowledge to run and contribute to a home. So whether it's a home or it's a workplace, they will understand, different things that they need to build in themselves, develop in themselves to run an office, to run a business, to run a home. And these skills are going to be essential skills. If you remember, our education system is one such system which believes in going to the house of the guru and staying there in a gurukul and doing all the different works that the guru's ashram required. So they used to, rear the cattle and go do gardening and, bring firewood and everything. Why was it? They have gone there to study. Even king's sons, the princes used to go there and do the same work because these activities ensure that the neural junctions, the connectivity of the nerves and the muscles, the brain development happens in a proper way. That was the whole reason of doing all these things. Otherwise, why would a king's son need to rear a cattle or, clean utensils? So all these things are very important for the overall development of the individual so that they not only get a thorough understanding of the work, their brain develops, but they also value the work. So when I, as a student, I cleaned my room in my school, I am sweeping the room and keeping it clean, I understand the value of a sweeper who is doing it outside. I do not make the road dirty. I understand how painful it is that when someone makes the room dirty. So these values can come when you work in that area and understand. So these are the entire, different curricular goals that we are trying to achieve. Now, what the activity book contains: 6 illustrative projects, 2 for each form of work, intend to cover the above curricular goals. So for each form of work, there will be 2 projects. So you can choose either, right? Second, the choice of the projects is left entirely to the school. So no one is going to ask you why didn't you do the first project or second. You can choose one of the projects that you have, or may not choose both. I'll come to that later on. But as of now, two projects are given under each heading. You can choose any one. The sequence of the project is not important so long as all the projects are completed within the academic year. So because life form is written in the beginning, you did not start with life form. You can start with machines, or you can start with human services. Third, these projects can be taken up at the same time or one after another. This is another point that you have to understand. It's not like important that you do one at a time. You can take up all the 3 projects together also. So it is the decision of the principal and the teachers involved that whether you're going to take one project at a time, If so, which one first, which one second, or you take up all of it together, which will be the completion date for each of these projects, and so on. So one project may be taken up by the students, or preferably the school can design other projects based on local considerations. Now, the book is very clearly telling that though we have given two projects for each form, you need not take any of these. You can develop your own project depending on your local need. So maybe I have given a project, let's say tie and dye, bandhani printing, let's say. But you are from a place, let's say it has a different art. Let's say in Kolhapur, you have Kolhapuri chappal. You want to make Kolhapuri chappal as a project. How to make a Kolhapuri chappal? Absolutely acceptable. Or let's say you are in Agra. You want to take up a project, let's say how to make Agra petha. That can be also one of the machine and material thing that you want to make Agra petha, which is so famous. So Agra leather industry is famous. So every place, Darjeeling, the tea industry is famous. So all these places where you have certain local craft that you want your children to learn, you can select a completely different project, not any of these two at all. That is the choice of the principal and the teacher, as I said. The NCF SE 2023 and indeed this activity book encourages school to select projects based on local considerations and availability of resources. So NCF, NEP, Kaushal Bodh, every book talks about choose a project relevant to your local place. If we want to develop Indianness, we have to start from the locality that we are in. So be local and think global. That is what we talk about, right? So if we are living in a place where there's a local craft, promote that instead of promoting something that is already there in the NCERT book. So the illustrative projects for class 6 are. So let's see what these projects are that are given in the book. And if you want, you can do these or choose another one, right? So for class 6, work for like form has school kitchen garden. Easy to make. All descriptions are given. I'll show you also how it is written in the book. But first, let's understand the projects that are there. Project 1 is school kitchen garden. Project 2 is biodiversity register. Work with machines and material. One is maker skill. Second project is animation and games. Part 3, work in human service. Project is school museum. Project 6 is fireless cooking or cooking without fire. So you can choose one of these, make it 3, or maybe 2 from here, 1 from outside, 3 completely from outside, your choice. Class 7. Project 1, plant nursery. Project 2, school habitat garden. Machines and materials, tie and dye. Project 4, AI assistant. Human services, story time with puppets. Project 6, family health handbook. What are the projects of class 8? Class 8, hydroponics, growing plants without soil. Number 2, feeding and caring for farm animals. Work with machines and material, working with wood and bamboo. Project 4, home automation. Working in human services, water audit for water management. Project 6, creating advertisements. So all these are options given and you can choose it from here. Note for school heads. The purpose of this subject is to promote learning by doing, dignity of labor, and development of vocational capabilities through exposure to a wide range of work. So developing skills through a wide range of work. So 3 different areas are chosen. Developing responsible and confident adults who value all professions. Vocational education is in schools also offer a robust medium for holistic learning by offering opportunities to apply conceptual learning in other curricular areas to real life situations. So integrating the curriculum with real life scenarios. And please note that it is important to identify concepts across curricular areas that students need to know. For example, seed germination for projects on life form. So if you're planning to go for a nursery in the school or a garden, you need to understand first that how the seed germination happens. So that is where the link with the curriculum is happening. So link your curriculum and then choose a project which is linked with a part of the textbook or part of the things that they are studying in the class. So that is all that the heads need to understand and remember. Learning outcomes again, using physical tools, equipment for carrying out different processes to perform authentic tasks. So they need to know how to handle tools and equipment. So this is, the children have a natural curiosity of this. Many children open the wristwatches, the televisions. In our days, I myself used to open up tape recorders, cassettes, audio cassettes. I think many of you must have done it. We were inquisitive. We love opening up things, play with screwdrivers. So that's all that it is asking for. Gaining clarity about what is to be done and reaching the final outcome through breaking down the task into smaller activities. So they need to know now how to do a big project by dividing it into a team, like teamwork. So each member is responsible for only a small area, and division of work is to be understood. Delegation of work has to be understood. Otherwise, they become leaders who don't want to delegate responsibility. They want to hold power, grab power, and these organizations where leaders are like that, it can never function. So, as principals, we have to lead and show them the way that we have to delegate the responsibility. Similarly, in the projects, the children will learn how to delegate the responsibility and how to depend on their colleagues or teammates. We have to have faith on them. We cannot, micromanage all the time. So these skills will be learned through these projects. That if I am giving a part of the job to my friend as a team leader, I have to depend on the friend, make him understand that I'm dependent on him, I have faith on him, and that's how a team works. So these things can be learned in the school. Third, understanding how to prepare materials and use tools and equipment while following safety measures and protocol. So every tool that they will use, they need to understand how the safety of that tool has to be maintained. Children can harm themselves unknowingly. I remember when once I was taken to a barber shop by my maternal uncle, and this barber was cutting his hair. I was sitting on the chair waiting for my turn. I saw that the barber was using that ustara, what they call, to the razor, to shave him. I got very inquisitive. I picked it up. I tried to do the same with my cheek, and I got a cut and started bleeding. So this is a natural tendency of every child, that if they get an equipment, they want to try it in a different way. So we have to tell them before they hold it, get the equipment, that these are the safety protocols that you need to maintain. That's very, very important. So before we start the project, a very clear understanding about how to use an equipment safely, including the mobile phone, including the computer. The safety, digital safety we are talking about these days. So while we explain this machine and material, we have to highlight that also. So connecting the activities done in school to the world of work. So they will understand very clearly whatever I'm studying in the textbook, it has a meaning in the outside world as well. So that will give them the confidence that we are just not studying for the sake of it. We have to study this because it is to be applied in my day-to-day life later on or right now itself. So linking up with the real life is very, very important to ensure that children are learning that subject, not just because of a syllabus completion, but to get some understanding about what they need to do when they're out of school as well. Next is assessing work done in terms of quantity and quality. So whenever they do projects, they will audit the quantity. The deadline has to be met. How many things did they produce? What was the result of that? What was the quality of that? So they get their focus into quality and quantity very clearly. Applying what is learned in school to daily life, again, we have spoken about that. Working collaboratively in group while ensuring individual participation in each activity. So they learn to work in a group and every individual contributing to the group. Even in team activities, we have seen at times when we arrange team presentations, if it's a team of 5, only the leader speaks, or maybe 1 or 2 children speaks, others stands silently during the presentation. Even in teachers training, you must have seen the same thing happening. Many teachers, when they go for presentation, only 2 people speak, others keep quiet. So we have to remember that when there's a project, when there was a presentation, every member should pitch in, every member should participate. That is what a team is. Pedagogy and assessment. So the project comprises a set of activities that are generally expected to be completed in a group or individually as required. So it again depends on the teacher. Are you giving the project for a group project or individual project? But I have a recommendation or suggestion, I would say, that in case you are giving a group project, make sure children are not misusing that opportunity to do something else, because they will meet outside the school in groups, and the parents will be told that they are going for a project, and if they do something that is not sort of a part of the school discipline or home discipline, then the blame will come on the school again. So I would strongly advise that when you're giving a group project, make sure that they do the project in the school itself. If they need to connect at all, they can connect in the school, discuss, and then do individually what they have to do back at home. So meeting in school, talking in school, getting the work done at home is fine. Even if they need to assemble something, let that assembling work happen in school instead of telling them to go to someone's house and do it. So these are the things I would think you should take care of. Then group projects are perfectly fine. And make sure that the group project has clear-cut designations, a group leader, a timekeeper, a conflict manager. Different positions can be created so that the group has every designation in place and operates in a smooth way. If there is no designation done by the teacher, the group can fall apart and a lot of quarrels and arguments can happen, which is going to be counterproductive. So they need to learn that also, the team dynamics. So in any team formation, there are 4 stages. I think you are aware of that. First is the forming of the team. So when everyone meets each other, the team members greet each other. It's called the honeymooning period of the team. After that, immediately after forming comes the storming period. So after that, when it is over, people start fighting and clashing with each other for what is my job, what is your job. Storming period will come. Then after the storming comes the norming period. So norming period, you name them that this is your job, this is your. Don't go into each other's domain. And once the norming is done, the 4th stage is called performing, where the performance goes up. And finally, after the project is over, it's called the adjourning phase, where you dissolve the group and a new group can be formed for a different project. So every team in the world, whether it's a school or it's a corporate world, works in the same way. So norming is a very important process. So help the team to have norms in place, positions in place. An individual project, again, you need to tell it how to do, safety measures, and the rubrics. Now, resources for projects, example, tools, equipment, materials, use of workspaces, etc. The resource persons are master instructors like mechanics, farmer, craftsperson, artisan, persons working in technology, and experts in the field must be drawn from the community. So if you see as a school setup, a person who is weaving this basket using these natural fibers, he is called in the school and the children are observing him. So people like him, the carpenters, the cobblers, the farmers, the IT experts, the AC mechanics, anyone can be called in the school. And these activities can be conducted as a part of the project. You can even conduct these activities as a part of your 10 bagless days. So even if you give 3 bagless days to each project to ensure that these artisans come, teach them the job, then also you are integrating 2 different things. What the bagless day is supposed to be, what Kaushal Bodh is supposed to be, you merge it together, give the exposure, and carry on the project. So this is just an idea that I'm floating across. How you do it, again, is your call. Exposure visits and interaction with professionals are built into the project to enable students to observe and understand work in real settings. Take them to the hospital, take them to a center where, let's say, cloth manufacturing is happening. Take them to a place where this tying and dyeing is happening. So wherever it's happening in a large scale, take them and let them understand and experience. From here, they will get an idea what I want to become when I grow up. Everyone is running towards engineering and medicine. The field is already super saturated. So right now we need to give the right exposure to the children to make them understand that what are the different vocations and where they can go and contribute. So in a vocation alone, there are different fields. It's not only the craftsman, it's the raw material supplying, it's the trading, everything is involved, right? The finished product marketing. So you can be a marketing part, you can be a sales part, you can be an advertisement part, you can be procuring of the raw material part. So in one project, they get to know so many different things that they can choose any of these as their future profession also. So that is the reason giving a complete understanding of the vocation is so important. Not just do it like a project that they have to do in school. Always when you are doing a project, I would recommend the principal or the teacher has to take up the job role of a CEO, MD, or chairman of a company. That if you were the chairman, how you would have loved the things to move. That way you have to go. Next, what is the time allocated then? So this is again a $1 billion question. That how much time to give, how to include that in our timetable is written very clearly: 110 hours or 165 periods in one academic year. So any idea how many weeks we work in a month? Like in a month, there's a 4 weeks. How many weeks we work in total in schools? Let's see if you can put it in the chat box. How many weeks in total? You can leave the examination days, you can leave the summer vacation, different vacations. How many weeks we actually work? Any number coming up in the chat box? Let's see. 26? No, no, no. Yes. If you say 36 weeks around, that's fine. Azaruddin. So 36, 38, 40. Why I'm telling 40? Normally in schools, we work for 10 months. So 10 months is equal to 10 into 4. 4 weeks. 40 weeks. So 40 weeks, divide 165 periods by 40 weeks. How many periods in a week? Again, let's have the number now. How many periods in a week? If 165 periods are there and 40 weeks are there, so what is 165 divided by 40? 165 divided by 40 is 5, 4. Yes. So you have reached the correct number now. So 4 or 5 periods in a week. So what is the suggestion? So suggestion is these periods may be distributed across the week as 2 blocks of 2 periods on weekdays. Monday, 2 periods, Wednesday, 2 periods. So 2 blocks of 2 periods each. 4 periods done and 1 period on Saturday. 5 periods in a week. So now teachers understand this thing very clearly. We have to reassign the number of periods per subject now when the academic year is about to begin. So 5 periods now will go to Kaushal Bodh. Now, where will you reduce the lessons from? Right? 4 or 5 period. So someone has written 4 period. It's 2 blocks of 2 periods and 1 Saturday. So 5 periods, 4 to 5 periods you have to give. So where are you going to carve out these 4 periods from? So you have to take maybe 1 period from English, 1 period from science, 1 period from social. So 3 periods, right? And 1 period maybe from any other subject that you want. Now, when you're taking that thing away, what you have to ensure? You have to ensure that the child, though it is going into a Kaushal Bodh period, but the child does not miss out on the syllabus. So these projects are going to be something related to the syllabus only, right? So someone has put the question on the group, Hema Malati, what happens to the syllabus completion? That's what I'm trying to tell. So these projects are not foreign to the syllabus. So you have to design the project in such a way that the child completes a part of the project where he studies a part of the textbook also. 2014, Narendra Modi went to Japan, came back with a slogan, less teaching leads to more learning. We teachers start believing that we are so important. If we don't teach, children are not going to learn. Come out of that mindset. The children learn hundreds of things that you have not taught. Children know many things that even you and I do not know. So come out of that illusion that if we do not teach, children will not know. Pronounce the curriculum. Tell the part of this curriculum will be integrated into this MDP, multidisciplinary project, on these different 3 topics. Design the topic in such a way that a part of the textbook that they need to read and they do the project and assessed accordingly. You did not give this assessment as a summative assessment to the children. I'll talk about that also later on, how the marks will be distributed. But what I'm training here is that each of the topics that we are covering in a project, let a part of the topic be a part of that subject. English. So when they're writing something, presenting something, they're writing a report, they're making a presentation, English can easily fit in over there and you can assess that. A part of the scientific inquiry that goes in can be science. A part of the travel that they plan can be geography or history, anything. They go do a research, that can be a part of that. And mathematics. So whichever subject is it, you can include that, right? So each project is expected to be completed in about 30 hours, approximately 55 periods of 40 minutes each. So 55 into 3 is 165. So each project should be given 55 periods and 3 different forms. So it makes 165. Total number of hours is 110. Now, next one. So focus on the project. The focus for the project must be creativity and demonstration skill and the process of doing rather than the product or outcome. So here, the product is not important, the process is important. So you have to design the rubrics of the project in such a way that the process is getting evaluated, not the ultimate finished product. And you have to check for creativity check for demonstration skill and the process of doing rather than the product, as I said. Working in groups and observing people with expertise is important to foster an appreciation for teamwork, creativity, sensitivity, persistence, and other important values related to work. So, working in groups and observing people. So, when people are doing the work, the artisans, the craftsmen, the experts are called from different fields, or the children are taken to their place. When they observe, what it develops, as I said, it develops teamwork, creativity, sensitivity, persistence, and it brings in a lot of values that 100 classes cannot complete. So through these projects, each of these periods that you are involving in a project, and if you do it in a proper way, each class is going to be equal to 10 classes that we take orally. Oral lectures has no value. This is going to be more valuable. Student must be active throughout as they take up activities that are directly connected to the real life and the world of work. They must be able to integrate learning from other curricular areas into projects. So they need to learn what? Not only the project that they're doing, they need to learn how a curricular area has been brought and implemented as a project. So that learning is important. This term is called metacognition. Learning how to learn, thinking how to think. So metacognition is very, very important when they're doing a project, and the teacher should promote metacognition by asking questions like this. So what do you understand from this project? So which part of your curriculum you were able to integrate? What knowledge that you gained in the theory classes you were able to implement in your practical project? So this will give them a clear idea how the curriculum is related to a real life project. Ensure inclusion, that's also very important. NEP and NCF talks about inclusive education, 100% participation, free from all bias, gender or social. So even if you see the picture, a child with PWD and normal children, they have to be in the same team. Even if this picture that you see over here at the bottom, one child is blind and his friends are helping him to participate in a particular reading project maybe. So these are the things that we need to understand. Be sensitive towards participation of Divyang students. Project can be adapted or entirely different project may be developed based on the needs of the Divyang student. So it is the wisdom of the teacher and the principal or the group of teachers, I would say. So when you're deciding a project, bring in all the teachers on the table. Let them brainstorm, then decide the project, how it's going to move forward. Which part of the curriculum of that subject is to be integrated. So when everyone pitches in, the project will get a proper shape. If only one teacher is doing it, it will not be helpful. So how you want to customize it as per the need of different children, that also you can decide in a meeting. Next. Assessment of and for learning. So assessment of learning is summative assessment. Assessment for learning is formative assessment. So it is recommended that activity book is designed to enable continuous assessment by teachers as well as self and peer assessment. So when you see the book, you will see that self-assessment is there, peer assessment is there, and continuous assessment is happening. The questions and formats for recording require students to assess their own progress, share their learning and reflections, and record their answers as they move from one activity to the next. So the workbooks are designed in such a way that when you take up a project, you solve the workbook, the NCERT workbook, you will see slowly that all these things are happening automatically. Peer assessment, self-assessment, introspection, reflection. This is automatically going to happen if you choose the projects that are given by the NCERT book. And if you have to design one, make sure you design in a similar way. Assessing the inculcation of values related to work, initiative, persistence, focus, responsibility, discipline, eye for detail, curiosity, creativity, empathy, sensitivity, and willingness to do physical work in particularly important. So check when doing the projects, it's not only if the project is done or not, are they really getting the values that we are trying to teach them through the project? So if these values are not going through, we need to rethink about what is going wrong and redo it. Students must be observed while at work to assess the same. So don't give it as a holiday homework. Don't give it as a weekend homework. Ghar mein kar lena, no. Do it then in the class. Observe them at work. Checklist and rubrics that outline specific behaviors and attitude related to work values may be developed by the teacher. When you give them the rubric, they understand what is expected from me. So this is in professional term called key performance indicator. When you join an organization, whether as a teacher or a manager or a CEO, KPI sheets are given. KPI sheet is what? KPI sheets are just rubrics. What are your performance indicator? Based on what I'm going to judge your performance. So a good organization always has key performance indicators. A good project also has clearly laid down rubrics. So rubrics are very important. You develop them. Next, assessment as learning, portfolio. Student must also maintain a portfolio in order to help them to see their own progress and record the process and products related to the project. Now, you are very well aware that in class ninth, we give this internal assessment based on 4 parameters. What are the 4 parameters? First one, pen paper test. Second one, multiple assessment. Third one, subject enrichment activity. Fourth one, portfolio. So portfolio is self assessment, assessment as learning. So here, doing the project, they have to add the project's findings in the portfolio. And I strongly recommend please use a digital portfolio instead of a physical one, because it will be easy for the children to scan and upload it, because children are very, very tech savvy these days. And the teacher does not need to carry a load of papers to assess the portfolio. It can be just the link of the Google Drive that is shared with the teacher. The teacher goes to that Google Drive, opens up the digital portfolio, checks the things and assesses it. So it will be easier for the teacher to have a list of 40 links instead of 40 hard copies of portfolios, right? So this project has to have a portfolio. It may contain any work done by the students, including additional notes, presentation, sketches, photographs, besides those in the activity book, related to the project and products they have created. So not only the activity book, but whatever they're doing as a background work, the research that they're doing, additional notes that they're making, if they're designing something, the first rough sketch that they're making, all these things can go into the portfolio. Because portfolio is a document which makes the student think again. So assessment of learning, summative assessment will be there. Assessment for learning, formative assessment automatically will happen when you solve the workbook, and assessment as learning will happen when you are asking them to go for a portfolio. Next, how the assessment is supposed to be conducted. What are the percentage or weightage? So mode of assessment, written test can be only of 10%. So 10% written assessment you can take. Oral presentation and viva voce, 30%. Activity book, 30%. Portfolio, 10%. Teacher's observation during activities, 20%. So all these things the teacher need to maintain as a document. So when you go into the class on a daily basis and you ask the children about the oral presentation, viva voce, you are giving out of 30. Activity book, when you're checking, you're giving a marks out of 30. Portfolio, and this 30 again, it can be for each project, and then you can finally bring it down to a sort of an average, and on the report card you can give an average of all the 3 projects that they have done throughout the year. In the term 1 they have done 1 project, put the 1 project score over there, but this will be the breakup: 10%, 30, 30, 10, 20, right? And for 6, 7 and 8 in the holistic progress card, credit scores will also be awarded for vocational education. Now, what is per credit? In 6, 7 and 8, total credits are to be earned is 40. How 40? 6 subjects, 5 credits each. So 6 subjects, 5 credits each is 40 credit points. You can refer to my video on credit points in the National Credit Framework, and you can check out how the credit framework is to be done. But in the coming year, please make sure your holistic progress card has a box for credit points or credit score for each subject, and this credit can be added over there. Next, projects given in the activity book are not mandatory. So I told you earlier also, the projects in this activity book is not mandatory. You can choose any of the project that you feel based on local context. But then, criteria for selection of project. If you do that, if you want to select your own project, these 10 things you have to keep in your mind. So what are the 10 things? First, is the project appropriate for students of that grade? Second, does the project help students use learning from other subjects? So you are a social teacher. Check if it also involves maths, if it also involves science. So involving other subjects. Third question, is the project related to the work the students see around them? Is it something that is commonly visible around them? So that's where the local context comes in. Will the student be able to interact with persons who are expert in the work related to the project? So if you're taking up a project, tie and dye, do you have a place where you can go and show them how tying and dyeing is happening? If you're taking up a project of call center, how a call center works, do you have a call center near you that you will go and show them? So this is very important. Will the students be able to get hands-on experience? Is it possible that you can make the children get hands-on experience of that? So you're trying to, let's say, make a potter's wheel, pottery, and you do not have a potter or a potter wheel anywhere near you. No point taking that project. Will student be able to take up different kinds of activities within the project? So is the project only unidirectional, or multiple type of activities will be there? So activities, as I said, will be procuring, doing a research, problem solving, uh, trial and error, making a prototype, marketing that prototype, making it more useful, all these things, right? Will the students find activities within the project challenging and interesting? Is it something that is very boring, or it's going to be challenging? So challenging will happen when you have a problem to solve. So always make sure that you do not give a project which is very obvious. Give them a problem that they need to solve. That is the challenge of the project. Will it develop values? Sorry, eight is, will the students learn something they can use at home? So something that they can do at home and use at home as well. Will it develop the values related to work, particularly dignity of labor? Does that increase dignity of labor in the child? This question. And finally, will the project help students acquire vocational capabilities for their daily living using technology, consciousness of environment, concerns and sustainability? So all these, taking care of oneself, doing small tasks at home, and things like that. So if your answer to all these 10 questions is yes, and you are able to design a project, design one. Otherwise, do it with your NCERT workbook. So I would recommend, unless you are a very clear expert of developing projects, developing worksheets, ensuring that formative assessment is going on properly through your worksheets, follow a few years the NCERT workbook only. Next, who will teach? Again, the moment these 5 periods, who will take these 5 periods? So existing teachers will take up this subject in the middle stage, grade 6 to 8, with the support of resource person or master instructor. So if you're taking up a project related to making baskets using fibers, so your master instructor is going to be there, and a facilitator that can be any of the subject teachers. So a teacher of any subject can take the lead in organizing activities for the project in which they have some understanding and expertise. So it's almost like running a club in the school. So if your teacher has expertise in certain area, the teacher can take it up. For example, the teacher is interested in gardening. She has her own kitchen garden at home. So she can take it up and train the children, get some proper gardeners who can tell them how to put the manure in that, what type of insecticide or weedicide is to be sprayed, what are the precautions while this insecticide or weedicide is sprayed they have to take. So all these things can be organized by the teacher who is passionate about it. 3 different projects can be done by 3 different teachers, 3 different sets of teachers. Maybe in the first project you're involving 3 or 4 teachers of your school, or one teacher. Second project you involve another teacher. Third project you involve another teacher. It all depends on the principal. So the head of the school may nominate a teacher coordinator among the existing teachers to coordinate and schedule the activities of different projects to be undertaken in the middle stage. So to make the accountability better, it's recommended that you make one coordinator. So you see, again, a designation is created. So you get a chance to give a growth to a person whom you didn't give growth earlier. So this Kaushal Bodh coordinator can be one good position in your school who will coordinate and ensure that these projects are getting done in time to time manner. Safety measures. Due care must be taken to ensure safety at all times. Safety measure must be demonstrated to students, who must in turn also demonstrate their understanding of how to keep themselves and others safe. Use of certain tools, safety during field visit, internet safety or cyber safety. So when they're using a digital tool like making an AI app, AI chatbot, they need to be taught about what is a firewall, how to set up a firewall, and things that they're going to restrict. Do not click on a link that is going to be downloaded on your computer. The exe files are to be avoided. Do not click on a link shared on WhatsApp. So all these things have to be kept in mind. Do not just go and visit any open source information that you see on the Google search. So all these basic small things have to be told to the children, and they learn through projects safety measures, from wearing masks, wearing helmets, wearing different types of aprons, to digital safety as well. So vocational education prepares you to deal with the practical things related to daily life and understand the world of work. This will happen through projects that you will do in school. These projects will give you an opportunity to work with your hands, work in groups with your peers, and learn the skill which help you become self-dependent in life. A note from the principal or teachers to the children. You read this aloud to them, that this is what this project, this Kaushal Bodh is going to do. It is going to empower you. It's going to make you job ready. Notes for students: how to use the activity book, what are the materials needed, follow the steps given in the activity book, check your work, ask for help, take short breaks, be creative, stay positive, reflect from time to time, design your projects, maintain internet safety. These are broad guidelines that students should take note of. Project format, how the project is given in the book. So if you see each project, all the 6 projects that I'm talking about, what will I be able to do is the first question. It gives explanation. There are certain passages that you have to fill up, worksheets that you have to do. So under each of these questions, there are worksheets or explanations. So this is divided into these many questions, each project. Questions like, what will I be able to do? What will I need? How do I keep myself and others safe? What do I need to know before I start? So this is the prior knowledge, the subject knowledge that we are talking about. So before we go to this project, I have to study chapter number 3 of science, chapter number 4 of social, chapter number 2 of maths, or a part of that chapter. This has to be very clear, topic wise. What do I have to do? So during the project, when the project is going on, what is expected from me? What are my KPIs? What did I learn from others? So while doing the project, so now the project is over. What did I learn? Reflect. So see, the reflection is coming over here. What did I do? And how long did it take? So what is the end product that I reached or achieved? And how long it took for me to get there? So a clear idea about the quantity, the quality. What did I do? And how long did it take? So it's the same question. It's repeated twice. You can ignore one. And the last one is, what else can I do? What other things that I can do from the knowledge that I gained through this project? So every project, all the 6 projects have these steps. Under each of these steps, there are fill in the blanks or worksheets that the child is expected to solve. Now here, please make sure that your principal is ordering these books or sending to the bookstore list and putting that in the website. These are the books the children are expected to buy. Don't download from the internet, because internet download version has a watermark that is going to be disturbing. So it's better you buy a book. NCERT books are anyway very cheap and economical, not expensive. So this is going to be a mandatory recommendation in your book list: NCERT, Kaushal Bodh 6, 7, and 8. And you have to do it right now. Next is, after everything is said and done, exhibiting their skill. Call for a Kaushal Mela. So in Kaushal Mela, the steps like brainstorming, timeline, the checklist, execution of the task, preparation of displays, event day, post-event day. So all these things develop like a mela, a fair. And in fair, the children should participate, the 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. Let it be a fun activity of the school. And they let them plan, let them execute. Even if you see post-event, they need to understand that after the mela, they just cannot go home. They have to stay and ensure that the field is clean. The rooms that they have used is ensure that it's clean and things are put in the garbage bags or dustbins, is disposed of. So from start to the finish, they need to understand how to execute a work from beginning to end, not give up in the middle because people have come and gone, so I don't need to take care of the cleanliness. So this is a great learning that will happen through the Kaushal Fair, and the parents are going to understand why you have taken away 4 or 5 periods from their normal subjects and given to Kaushal Bodh. Otherwise, it will come as a big complaint for the school that nothing is happening in this project days and students are not learning anything. Now, earlier they used to get 6 periods of maths. Now you're giving 5 periods. This is not acceptable. So to avoid that, please update the parents. It's highly recommended principals call a meeting, explain the parents of middle school that what is this all about, what it is expected to achieve. And one statement I think should be invariably used: this is making the children job ready. You want your child to be job ready? Do this. Theory knowledge, bahut hua. Come back to your practicality. And HPC, the competencies can be checked through this. Competency cannot be checked through written answers or summative assessments. Project template. So what is the project about? So I just read out those things out to you, right? So all these things are the same thing. I don't want to repeat this. Now, there are different annexures. What is the annexure 2? Annexure 2 is competency. So this is annexure 1. Annexure 1 is the project template. What is it? What is the project about? What will be the outcome? What is the importance of the project? For example, connect to the real world. What tools, equipment? So this is annexure 1 that needs to be filled up. Annexure 2 is competency with learning outcome. So I said learning outcome 1 and 2 is leading to competency 1.1. So performs procedures competently through required tools or equipment. LO1 of that is select tools appropriate for a specific task, use tools correctly for a complete task. So 2 learning outcomes lead to 1 competency. So this is a mapping of the learning outcome with competency. And this is a mapping with the curricular goal also. So see, CG3 is related to these many learning outcomes. CG4 is related to these learning outcome. So when we talk about curricular goal, competency, and learning outcome, the teacher and the people should be very clearly aware that what is the curricular goal, which competencies are covered, and under each competency, what are the learning outcomes I'm going to cover in the class. Annexure 3. What is Annexure 3? Additional projects. Now, apart from the 6 projects that the book has given in form of worksheets, it has given 5 more additional projects. So these are the additional projects that are given in annexure number 3. So all these things are there, and the same questions, if you remember, what did I learn from others and how I used it? What did I do? How long did it take? You remember the things I showed you earlier? This one. So the same questions are also given for these additional projects. Additional projects. What did I do? Think the answer. What else can I do? Now this is annexure 4 again. The time allocation and mapping of learning outcome. So for each learning outcome, what is the time allocation? So these 3 activities, the learning outcome is this. So LO 1, 2, 3, and 7, required number of periods 2. This required number of periods 2. For these, required number of periods 8. So you get a breakup of 54 periods. Remember, 55 periods for each project. So it has given you the breakup also. So connection with other curricular areas, mathematics and arts. So social and science is linked already. So with maths and arts also, it is linking up through the learning outcome and number of periods allotted. So you see, required periods is 50. Now, this is the circular that I was talking about. Now, this is circular about setting up a composite skill lab in the CBSE school. Now, this is also very, very important. This is a part of the affiliation. Just like a composite science lab till class 10th is mandatory. So all schools which are going to apply for fresh affiliation, apart from the composite science lab, they need to have a composite skill lab also in place. Now, what is the composite skill lab? How big it should be? What are the equipment that are supposed to be there? So this is something that you need to understand. So this is how a composite science lab will look like. You have 2 options. The option is one composite skill lab of 600 square feet for class 6 to 12, or 2 separate labs, 400 square feet each, one for class 6 to 10, the other for 11th and 12th. So if your school is a senior secondary school, a 600 square feet, I think, is more logical than having 2 400 square feet rooms, but only and only if you do not have a 600 square feet area, you have 2 smaller rooms of 400 square feet, you can use it that way, right? So 2 rooms are required 400 square feet or 1 room of 600 square feet. These labs should be equipped with appropriate tools, equipment, and machinery to support hands-on, skill-based, and project-oriented learning across disciplines. Now, it depends on what project you choose and what equipment you should procure. There are a lot of companies will come and try to dump sell the lab to you. A lot of equipment that you may never need. Be very mindful and buy these things, because once CBSE comes up with the circular, there are so many sellers who line up to sell different things to you and take an advantage of your ignorance. So if you are deciding which project has to be done, what are the equipment needed, planning is done, you procure only those equipment. Few equipment that you can keep in your lab is, for example, a 3D printer, which is going to be very, very helpful in case you need to develop something that is not available in the market. nothing like a 3D printer. So this small, a few things, soldering rods. So few things like that you can have in general, and others you can plan out. Not that whatever, let's say XYZ company is coming and trying to sell you, you have to buy. And implementation timeline, we have already spoken about it. But then implementation timeline of this composite lab. So you're asking like, for example, my school is already affiliated and we don't have a composite lab. So how much time is given to us to do that? So this circular was issued in 2024. So 24 onwards, but no one noticed. As I told you that some circulars come, no one takes a note because time buffer is given. So that time when it came in 2024, the buffer was given. If you search in Google CBSE circular on mandatory composite skill lab, you'll get this circular. But very few school observed and did it. But then what they did that time, 2024, they said that those who are applying for fresh affiliation, do it and then apply. For those schools who already have the affiliation in place, do it within 3 years from the publication of this circular. So it was 2024, 25, 26, 27. So you still have this year and the next year. But by next year, you have to compulsorily do it. So keep that in mind and always try to do it well in advance, because if you're implementing Kaushal Bodh this year, why not have a lab? And I think this is the best time to talk to the management and develop an area which you can use. Otherwise, once it is in practice, they will be reluctant to do it. So this is again something very important. So with this, I come to the end of Kaushal Bodh. And like if you have any question, you can ask me. This is a link that I'm sharing with you. You can take a picture of this. It's a link to join my community where I share a lot of information about CBSE from time to time. Some YouTube videos that I make. It can be some video on storytelling, spirituality, and other things. And that is the reason I'm able to give this in this session, because there is absolutely no conflict of interest with Extra Mile. What Extra Mile does, Extra Mile is a thoroughly webinar platform where a lot of academic webinars are there, but mine is more of overall teacher knowledge, I would say that way. Sometimes 5 minutes videos also shared. So you can use this link to join my community and be connected with me. And now I'll just stop this sharing. Give me a moment for that. And I'll share with you the entire screen to show you one of the books also. So let me just come out of this. So I go to Google and Kaushal Bodh. So see, this is the Kaushal Bodh book of opening up. So yeah, Kaushal Bodh for grade 8. So in grade 8, as I told you, first few pages are there. You can see first few pages. I'll just take you to the project straight away. So whatever I've told you right now is a part of all these initial pages. You don't need to read it if you have seen my video. And the initial pages are same for 6, 7, and 8. No difference. Now initial pages are over. So I showed you this also, the weightage of marks. And then how to use the activity book. And now let's go to straight away. So there are a lot of preambles and all this. So work with life forms. So part 1. So if you go to life forms, it talks about, let's say hydroponics. Remember in class 8, hydroponics was a topic. It gives you the project the way it should be moving. And the same questions you will see. So project, how is to be done, the theoretical knowledge. It gives you the know-how. Now, what will I be able to do? It tells you what you are able to do. What will I need? It talks about the equipment that you need. All these things are given in pictorial form. How do I keep myself and others safe? So safety measures are given over here. What do I need to know before I start? So theoretical knowledge that is required is given over here. Condition for plant growth, how they are fulfilled when the plant is in soil. So all these things are there in detail. Did you know is there? And you see everywhere they're putting some worksheets, record of observation. So, and these fill up this space is given to fill up this worksheet as well. What do I have to do? Again, different things explained to the child. Did you know? Pieces of information shared with him. So information, list of things, worksheets, all are included together, like these things. Everything is going on together, you see. And a lot of pictures are there, steps are given, observation noting, reflections. So this is how each project is going on. 6 projects are like that over here. So, what did I learn from others? Have you come across any other advanced farming technology in your locality? If yes, describe the technology. Name any 3 things that you learned while setting up the hydroponic system. So, all these things are questions. What did I do and how long did it take? It is important to understand how much time is required for an activity to be completed. So, you see, all these are there for that. So, this workbook is an excellent one, and then you go to the next project. And at the end, as I told you, the annexures are there. So if you go towards the end of the project book, so these are, just scroll up a little bit, it's getting stuck. But then as I'm showing you this is allocation of mapping of learning outcome that I already showed you as an annexure, if you remember. See, I showed this to you on the screen. Learning outcome, how many periods it will take. These annexures are there at the end of the book. So the entire book has some, initial introductory pages, 6 projects, two for each form, additional projects that are recommended. So I'm going to scroll up to those additional projects. So I'll show it to how it is there. Yeah, these are additional projects. So apart from the normal ones, you can see these are additional projects that are already there. Keyhole garden, an entire step is again described, not in pictorial form, but as an outline. So you can take these things as well. So if you have attended this webinar, you must have understood. Initial pages I've covered. The projects are there for you to do hands-on. The annexures already explained. And now it's going to be a cakewalk for you. And I've also explained how much time to give, who is going to teach. So everything should be crystal clear. But still, if you have any question, I'm leaving the stage open. You can ask me.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much, Mr. Dr. Datta, for the wonderful explanation and very well guided. You have taken pains to go through each book, and you have come up with a very beautiful presentation. Hope that all the participants got a very clear idea how to proceed with the Kaushal Bodh textbooks 6, 7, 8. Sir has spoken about the 3 projects: life project, machine project, and human service projects and all. And all such activities are taking place in schools. Sir has also, given idea about integration of these projects with other subjects so that you can save the periods and using the bagless days as well. In addition to that, I also feel that you have, we all schools have different clubs. You can assign this task to the clubs. We have a cookery club, or eco club, or a garden, a kitchen garden, and a photography club, or all these clubs are there so that we can save time. But what needs is to have a very thorough design at the end, at the beginning of the academic year. The head of the school, along with the coordinator and other teachers, subject teachers and all, they have to design the project so that it will run very well. We can save time, we can clearly achieve the learning outcomes. So also the Kaushal Mela, you can club it with the science and mathematics exhibitions
True.
taking place at the end of the academic year or middle of the academic year. Or we can plan it in any way. And also it is clearly said that these projects mentioned in the textbooks are not so compulsory. You can also have, but keep the parameters, criteria in mind in selecting the you know the advantage is that the children are going to enhance their skills. That is the main objective of the Kaushal Bodh. So thank you so very much, Dr. Datta, for your clear enlightening. And thank you, participants. If you have any question, we have 5 minutes. You can raise your hand. Uh, feedback link is posted in the chat box. You can save it. You can use it anytime. This is a permanent link. Mamta Jaiswal, you can quickly ask your question. Please unmute.
Yes. Good evening, sir.
Good
Good
evening.
evening.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir, for the insight. I have a question here that there are few subjects which was given in the skill education like beauty, wellness, handicrafts. So we have to choose that subject, any one subject for class 6, 7th, 8th. They have
No,
given some 8 to 10 subjects.
so that was a part of the vocational education that you're talking about, right? For each
Uh,
grade, there were certain subject choices that you have to make, and then
uh,
there were certificates also that was available, by filling up all these requirements and then filling up that form. Certificates could be downloaded. So this is not exactly the same. This is
so
Kaushal
we don't
Bodh
have
as
to
a
follow that,
subject.
sir.
So you, if you want, so this is project oriented. If you see,
Okay.
this is
Hmm.
project oriented, and choosing one subject. For example,
Hmm.
uh, let's say first aid or expiry of medicine, or let's
Hmm.
say retail. So retail
Dr.
can be a
Datta,
subject,
Dr. Datta, added to that, I think the question is like, nowadays, these days we have skill subjects from grade 6 onwards, right?
right?
Right. So the question is whether skill subject should be chosen or this should be chosen or both should be done. That is the
So
question.
according to me, I think but right now you can choose Kaushal Mela, this Kaushal Bodh as a subject, and
Hmm.
because you are learning different skills anyway through this. So having another skill subject will unnecessarily, because you have to devote some period for that skill also then. So
Correct,
right
correct.
now,
Correct.
when the skill subjects were told, that time this Kaushal Bodh was not there. Now
Yes.
that
Hmm.
Kaushal Bodh has come in, I would
Okay.
personally, in my school, I would ensure that we
Huh.
do this Kaushal Bodh, and
Hmm.
for the timing, leave out those things. But then,
Okay.
as we were discussing regarding the different clubs, if you have a club of one of the skills, you can ensure
Hmm.
that a group of students do that as well.
Okay. Okay. Yes,
But
sir.
this is going
Thank
to
you,
be
sir.
a subject.
Yes, sir.
If you're understanding,
Huh.
this is not
Huh.
optional. This is going to be a
Okay.
mandatory subject
Correct.
where you have to put this in the timetable.
Okay.
So
Yes,
beyond
sir.
that, if you have a club
Hmm.
period, in that club, you can choose one of the vocations that is listed,
Okay.
beauty and wellness
Okay.
and all these things.
Yes, sir. Yes. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
Right.
Thank you, sir.
That's why I think it is, given to grade 6 to 8, 6 to 8. When they come to grade 9, they can have specialization.
Yes.
All
Right.
right. Thank you so much. Any more questions? I hope it is very clearly, carried forth by Dr. Datta. So hope implementation will be very effective, very smooth, and unless and until we sit together. So we have to put our heads together for the effective implementation of the project. Make sure that it is very well designed, and there is delegation from every side. So thank you so much once again for joining. Thank you, Dr. Datta. Thank you for the wonderful rendering. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Bye. Thank you.